And Dr. Ritchie, when he found himself on the other side, you know, he was walking and he'd think, oh, well, I've got to get to this place. And because he desired it, he found himself there. And so this is usually the point where people wake up to, oh, I'm in a different dimension. He said, there are immense distances here to cover, and sometimes we need to cover them instantly. We do so by the power of thought. But the strangest thing to me at first was the fact that when I moved myself through space at any greater speed than ordinary walking, I found that I had no sense of absolute direction, but one of movement only. If I chose to close my eyes while traveling with moderate speed, I simply realized that there was no traveling. I was simply in one place and in another in an instant. This absence of a sense of direction in no way interferes with our initial thought function in personal movement. Once we have determined to journey to a certain place, we set our thoughts in motion, and they instantaneously set our bodies into motion. He said, one must almost say it requires no thinking about. It's kind of like, remember the series Bewitched? Kind of like that. You know, they're here and they're there. It's hard for us to conceive of those things because we're in a three-dimensional realm where we're aware of traveling a distance. So you can see that after leaving this realm behind, that there's a great deal of delight and joy at, you know, remembering, you know, how we truly do move. And he said the spirit world is divided into spheres or realms. These two worlds, the words of designation, have passed into current exception among most of those on the earth plane who have knowledge of and practice with communication with our world. In speaking to you thus, I have used these words, but they are only a mere reflection of the great beauty of these many, many dimensions. He said the spheres of the spirit world are arranged in a series of bands forming of concentric circles around the earth. These circles reach out into infinity. And in each realm, it's a different vibration. It's a different place. Like one may be of, like I said, art or music or science. But they're, just as we have individual homes here, and individuals, that's how many worlds there are. I mean, it's just boggles the imagination. And he said, and these realms are invisibly linked with the earth world in its lesser revolution. There are lower realms of darkness which are situated close to the earth plane and interpenetrated at its lowest. It was through these that I first passed with Edwin when he came to take me to the spirit realm. In talking about these realms, first of all, this is why so many people, when they have a near-death experience, there is a tunnel. So they don't see the more earthbound realms of consciousness. Now, we might look at those realms as where the person's material desires have outweighed their spiritual beliefs. You know, the Bible says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Well, what is that treasure? Well, it's what you've built, what you've created. And so, you know, if it's been purely of a material making, there are souls that find themselves attached to the earth. You know, they see their friends and long for, you know, to be back into the earth. Meanwhile, there are their guardians or their angels that are waiting for them to let go of their attachments. And, you know, we all know people who live like that here, don't we? Right. Well, again, as above, so below. And so it's not that these souls have been cast out of the light. They, by their own choosing, have chosen to reside in these more lower or astral realms. And some of them get caught because in the lower realms, whatever you think, whatever you dwell upon, immediately is manifested before you. So you can imagine for some souls that have been very material-minded, what that could be like. if whatever you thought about was manifest immediately, so many of them get mesmerized by the thoughts around them. This is a transitional period. I'm reminded of the book, The Boy Who Saw True. The boy who was consciously psychic at 10 years old and didn't know there was no difference between the worlds. And his grandfather was happily going to this University of God, and he was going and listening to these amazing concerts. And there was one composer that he said that wrote like 12 symphonies. I don't remember the name of him, but he said, I went to go hear his 13th symphony. So the great composers, the great musicians, continue to compose in these higher realms. And so whatever has been your passion, whatever has been your love, that you will move into, but at a much more expansive way and in harmony with other people who feel and think just like you do, exactly like you do. And so from that standpoint, it really, if we follow what we love, know that when we shed the body, we go to the source of that which we loved, that which we love to do, whether it was art, music, painting, whatnot. Absolutely amazing. And George Ritchie, after being shown this wonderful library, he was taken, he said, to a realm of science that is beyond words. He said, I'm speaking as an MD. This was George Ritchie. He said, as an MD, as a psychiatrist, a scientist, he said, I can tell you this realm that I saw was so technologically advanced that I cannot describe all the things that I saw. And everything that was there was eventually going to help humanity, technology-wise. He said, whenever humanity was ready for like the next step or the next breakthrough in medicine or science or whatnot, these people who had been doctors and scientists and engineers, they would put through this information into the collective subconscious of mankind, and then they would watch for the receptive minds to pick it up. And this explains why when a paper is published, on some scientific breakthrough, there'll be one published in Japan, Sweden, America, Germany, simultaneously. And what does everybody do? They're trying to figure out who stole the idea from who, right? Well, it's hard for them to fathom that nobody stole it from anybody. That even Thomas Edison said, all ideas come from space or come from the infinite realms. But you can look back, just through the scientific journals and see so-and-so wrote a similar thing on the same day these things were published. And I think, I can just see them laughing on the other side, that they got it. They're not concerned with, they're fighting over who got the idea first. As George Ritchie said, in the realm of spirit, there is no copyright. I always like that. So what I'm saying is, behind the scenes, there is this vast intelligence, a divine intelligence, a loving one, that we open ourselves to it. As we open ourselves to it, more can come through us to help us in our individual lives and also help one another. It's like the greatest teachers that have ever come to the earth, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, all of them acknowledged that of themselves, they were nothing but the vessels for the divine, that they were channels. What was it? Jesus said, I of myself can do nothing, but it is God that works through me. All of them realized that each individual is a human conduit for whatever it is. So rather than this idea that we're trying to get out of here, out of the earth, I have this feeling that we're, at this time in history, we're incarnating. More of us is coming into the earth. It's kind of like what Jesus did in his life 2,000 years ago. He was trying to show us, to demonstrate that, yes, we live in a finite world, but it's not finite at all. It's like it just appears that way. And I have absolutely no doubt that when he walked on water, he was laughing all the way. It had to have been just a very funny moment for all of those, who were on the boat going, it's a ghost, and he's going, it's not a ghost, it's me. And I could see him going, but you're walking on water. It's like, yes. And Cayce said because of that attunement that he had, he was able to change his body's vibrations to be in harmony with wherever he went. So if you can just picture that in that light, Cayce said, what we call the miraculous is science, what science has not yet discovered, but these are scientific principles. And so if we look at that idea that more of us is coming into the earth at this time, that more of our soul, more of our spirit is coming to the conscious mind, that makes it a little bit easier than thinking, I've come to the earth, I got to pay off my karmic credit card at 32%. Oh God, what have I done to do this? It's perception. It's a matter of perception. How about the idea that we have come here to bring God fully into 3 dimensions? Fully. Like we've come to bring the 4th dimension into 3-dimensional reality. Or in other words, to bring the infinite into a finite world, and hence what we thought were limitations are not limitations at all. And so